What's up, beautiful humans? We have officially reached 4 episodes of Conversations with Nation, which makes us officially mid-season. If you have not done so, make sure to go check out episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. Definitely let me know which one has been your favorite. But as we hit mid-season, then it is time to take a break. It's time to take a break. I don't know why I did that, but yes, it's time to kind of take a minute to step back for a second. Please utilize this time to catch up on any of the episodes you haven't watched. You can also, if you're new here completely, you can go back and listen to all of my previous episodes on the same whatever listening platform you're on. For podcasts, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you get the first probably 16 episodes of Conversations with the Nation before I switched over. So you should most definitely check it out. And yes, because breaks and rests are necessary. This process has been it has been a process. It has been a sprint. It has felt like a sprint. If you have ran a 400, it feels like that last little bit where you're like, yeah, I mean, going from, so at the end of the last podcast, the Occasionally Count podcast, we were at the point of like shooting and releasing from a visual aspect. That was kind of the first time I got a sense of like how much time does it take to kind of produce something visually, and then also like what's a part of it, what's included in it. And after ending that and being like, no, I can do this because I'm doing most of this work anyway, stand on that. And I just was kind of like, all right, now let me go do the research, figure out how to elevate it, et cetera, et cetera. Got here, definitely felt like I nailed that, quality went up. But also realizing like how I just thought it was going to be a transfer of things that you're using, but I didn't recognize the amount of like time as an energy resource that it costs to build. And yeah, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's harder than I thought it was. Like, if I'm just being straight up, it is. I had asked somebody I reached out to about sound things, and she works in TV and film, and she was like, you're doing what? You do all of that? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, like, you kind of have to if if you're starting out. And she's like, I mean, yeah, true, but like, that's a lot of shit at one time. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy because this feels like a lot. But then you also just get it in your head that you have to do something. That's a whole other conversation about human psychology of like, when people are like, oh, how are you capable? And I'm like, that has to do with not giving people a whole lot of options, or when you at least set in your mind that you don't have a whole lot of other options, that you kind of just have to go through the hard thing. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting ride. And then also just trying to balance this thing of like, you can be good at a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that you need to do a lot of things, nor that you have the time to do all of those things, or that you will enjoy doing all of those things. Like, that's another thing I'm kind of coming across and figuring out is like, what aspects of this do I enjoy and like what aspects do I not? I will be very clear, the internet portion is the part that I fucking hate. Like, and when I say internet, I mean social media specifically, like, I am not a fan. And it's because you create, like, it just takes so much to like research, find the person, write the questions, figure out the space and location, shoot the thing, like do the back and forth, edit the thing. Like, you spend hours and hours and hours on a piece of work that is going to be at most, well, for me particularly, it's 4 clips, 4 60 to 90 second clips a week that the majority of people will see if they come across, unless they're already like a part of wanting to listen and watching your community. And playing that game is frustrating. Like, oh, it's wildly frustrating. And I would feel better at it if it was just that. But then I've gotten to a place where I'm just kind of really starting to look at this through the spec of like, what it is you're building is a business. And because it didn't originally start out as wanting to do that. It started out as like, oh, there's this thing I kind of want to do. It might be a hobby. And it's just grown and grown and grown into like something more. And, you know, if you are close to me, you know that my end goal is I want to own a media company on a very large scale. Trying to figure out like, I look at that as like, that's far off. Like the first thing I thought about doing is like, okay, you have to enter into media, right? And I didn't even think about that originally, but now that I'm like mapping out what these next steps are, it's like, you have to enter into media in some way. Okay, you enter in this aspect, and the aspect that you can completely control and develop yourself, which has to be through the internet. And then as you continue to do things and keep progressing, you keep having to choose like what's the next step, and you don't fucking know. You never fucking know. You just kind of roll the dice and, and let the shit fall how it falls. But I'm now getting to a space where I have to understand. I feel like I'm kind of hitting this fork in the road of it will include both, but of like either you are sold into doing this via the internet, or you are sold to the idea of having to do this in real life, meaning like you're gonna have to build an organic, real audience in real life. And yes, there's a both and aspect, because even if you build this organic thing in real life, like it still translates over to this aspect, but it's a different path, you know? And I'm very much just, my personality is very like, whatever I do, I gotta go balls to the walls with that bitch. And I'm realizing like, it's not gonna be in this lane. Like, it's not, I just don't enjoy the social media aspect of it enough to delve deeper in that way. Like, it's gonna always have to be a space to like release and promote work, but like you need to build an audience over here. And that's what I'm kind of landing on, and then also trying to figure out and develop what exactly does that look like. Does that look like live shows, which is already a thing that is in the back of my head for November. Giving consideration to like moving my 9-to-5 job into something in media. And then if that is the case, like what are you doing exactly in it? Like, is that like, how do you even enter into that space? Is it a behind the scenes thing? Is it the production aspect? Is it in front of the screen? Is it both and? Is it, I don't know. And then, yeah, just honestly trying to figure it out while also still being a person of integrity. And I get on here and rant all the fucking time about like anti-capitalism, blah, 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 blah. We're not workhorses and we should rest. And then like, don't be resting. Like, I am wildly imbalanced right now. I feel imbalanced in my personal relationships. I feel imbalanced in my relationship with myself, meaning my health, my nutrition, my sleep patterns. I feel imbalanced in every way. And so I kind of have to take a break for a second to get rebalanced and like get back in. And it'll just be a couple weeks, but yeah, this shit hard. This shit hard. Yeah, so I've also been giving thought to kind of having this aspect too of like talking about kind of what's going on behind the scenes and also like the emotional aspect. I think that there's such a need for community when it comes to creatives, because this journey is so specific and it's not any specialer than anybody else's journey. Don't let nobody sell you on that bullshit. But it requires something internally of you that is, yeah, it's a fucking fight. It's a battle regularly. Like you are just having to practice so much self-awareness. You really have to go on like that inner journey as well. Or you could not, but ugh. Like, that'd be trashed after. You still gonna go through the bullshit, so you might as well process it. But yeah, it's a lot. it's terrifying at times, it's exhausting at times, it's amazing at times, it is finding out what you're capable of and what you're capable of doing is crazy. Like, to be able to produce something at this level and never owned a camera prior to 6 months ago, like, I'm like, damn, bitch, like, you did that. But then also, like, what is the cost of that? Because I haven't stopped. Like, to even, there have been friends that have been like, oh my gosh, like, you know, all the congratulations and all the things to be said. And I don't think about any of it. Like, you reach a goal and it doesn't even feel sweet because you're so busy trying to maintain it and then go to the next thing. And I just feel like there's gotta be a better way. Gotta be a better way, better way. I didn't sing that right. How does that song go? Gotta be a better way, a better way, better way. I don't remember what that song is. Hey, wanna be a baller, shot caller. I remember that now. I don't know who that artist is, but anyways. Yeah, so I think I want to take more time and more consistently just kind of talk about those aspects of it. I did this thing called Quick Convos with Nation because I was kind of testing it out and what I wanted it to look like and how I wanted to do it. And I think that needs to be completely stripped down. I think Conversations with Nation is perfectionized enough and still can do better in other aspects from like a production standpoint or even content. I don't know, maybe, but like, I think this aspect has to be like, look, we're gonna be here in the big t-shirt, no makeup, and just talking about what the fuck is going on. And you know, how the build works and what are we doing. So all that to say, I'm going on a break and I will see y'all in a couple weeks. Please go catch up on things, like them, subscribe them, put comments on them, rate them on whatever podcast listening app you're listening on. Like, be the homie. And to all the creatives, keep creating, loves.